Hello. Today we're going to talk about Classcraft, a positive behavior intervention and support system that reinforces student behavior with positive and negative consequences and rewards through a fictional fantasy adventure style setup. Now, it's important that students have buy-in for this to work because the rewards and interventions that are done through the student's avatar, a personality that they take upon themselves and care for and want to improve. Now, this works if the students have interest in their characters and want them to do well, which means they need to have buy-in to what Classcraft has to offer. And so we're going to look at a few ways to increase student buy-in and make the most out of this platform. The way it works is that the students are introduced to a fictional world which has, within Classcraft, a very well-developed backstory and mythos. It's a civilization that had, in times past, undergone a cataclysmic event which took the land that they lived in and broke it into archipelagos. And each character set has grown up and made a microcosm of a society on each of these islands. The world is called Elmara. The three main islands are Elda, Morian, and Koratz. So the names and the places and everything are already set out. And each of these civilizations has different strengths and weaknesses. And by identifying with those strengths and weaknesses, the students are taught to watch out for others, to use their strengths to help others' weaknesses, and to allow others with strengths to help their weaknesses. So it's a very important character building tool as well. Among those we have the mages, which essentially is a civilization based on engineering and technology. The healers, which is a civilization based on botany, biology, and human processes. And the warriors / defenders, which is a society based on personal improvement and physical excellence. And each of these civilizations has strengths and weaknesses. For instance, the mages, say, would have a problem societally with plagues and illnesses, whereas the healers, although living long and healthy lives, are little more than hunter-gatherers because they don't have the technology. See how it works? And so a student will identify with one of these three civilizations, and within the classroom setup, the consequences can be mitigated by other members of your team that have strengths that work against the weaknesses of the characters, helping the students to see that they need to work together and self-police as time goes on their behavior in the classroom. One important way to get buy-in is to introduce the characters to the students early on in the year and to use the system with fidelity and take your classroom lessons and fold them into a classroom quest. And this can be done by writing quests of your own. This is relatively easy because, as I said, the names and places and characterizations of all of the flora and fauna of the world are very well thought out and documented. And you can build upon that. And the illustrations are marvelous. They're very detailed. You can zoom in to any extent, and the world's appearance tells you what you can do with moving through that in a virtual realm. And within a classroom setting, you can assign assignments or projects or tests or whatever as part of that quest working through the map. Now, theoretically, a good way to get buy-in class-wide or among your team or even among your grade level would be to use a cooperative system where every classroom would work through the same quest at different stages. For instance, you would have, your first block would go through the first part of the quest, the second block would go through the second, third block would go through the third, and the next day it would continue on from there. So the students are all moving through the same quest at the same pace, all through their classes. Now, ideally, this could be extended out to a multi-year quest, whereas a sixth grader on a team would move through the same quest, pick it up in 7th grade, pick it up through 8th grade, where it would be sequential but not referential. So a person, say, moving into the middle of 7th grade wouldn't be totally lost. They could catch up with what's going on. Or a person starting 7th grade wouldn't need to know what happened in 6th grade to move forward, but it extends the story to be there throughout the whole thing. And if we start that early on in the year and get that sort of, that consistency with the familiarity of, you know, what the characters are, how they work together, what the storyline is, then by the time a few weeks into the school year, when we start introducing the students to assigning themselves some of these characteristics, they'll be more motivated to identify with one of these and start forming their own teams. Experience has shown me that if you jump right in without a good idea of the backstory, the kids don't understand, you know, why you would want to be a mage over a warrior, or a warrior over a healer, or something like that. So, one of the things that we can do is use some of the pre-made quests that Classcraft provides, and either extend upon that, or among your team, break up each quest 3 different ways and have each team work on a third of it, and then dovetail the 2 together during the year. This might have greater benefits into keeping students more motivated, because they're all working through things together, and they have the ability to see what their actions have as far as a result inside the quest. And that's something that we can work on as well. Now, the way the story is set up within the Classcraft scenario is that these, as I'd mentioned, these 3 civilizations, which kind of grew concurrent with each other but separated from each other for thousands of years because of this global catastrophe that broke their main island up into an archipelago. They've been living separate lives for so long, and they've been unaware of each other, or dimly aware of each other. And then a 4th island, Voak, appeared in the middle of the archipelago, and this was set there by the ancients, which was the primordial civilization which had set up the island initially. And in the middle of this island, the 3 civilizations came together, coincidentally, to investigate what this new island was. And they found out that through cooperation, the island had triggered a signal which advanced to Elda Island and made a tower over there. And that starts the story-based quest from the Classcraft inner narrative perspective. Now, it is possible to set up, you know, quests on your own, but if you think about it, if every student has a different quest in every class and they're not related to each other, it's all very fragmented. Having a unified quest which moves all the students together as a team or a grade level through the same situations at the same time gives a greater opportunity to have those students reach those conclusions about working together and cooperating, and, you know, seeing each other's, you know, strengths and weaknesses as benefits instead of something to tear down. And I think that that would be a very useful tool to use if used with fidelity. So think about Classcraft and how we're going to use it next year, and think about starting very early on in the year with introducing them to the quests and the story itself, and then introduce them to their characters after a few days or a week or so of doing this. And I think we'll see some big results from it this year. It's a good system, but the kids need to have that sense of buy-in, that sense of belonging, that this is their quest and they are part of this. And I think that it would reap great benefits if used with fidelity. So, thank you very much for your time. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.